I'm Brian.
And I'm Stefan.
So I'll do the introduction. So Stefan and I have known each other for a million years. Both of us had careers in a totally different direction to where we are today. I just thought it'd be interesting to sit down and have a general chat. So that's what this is, everyone. It's just a general chat to bore the living daylights out of you. Let's see if you make it to the end of this video.
Well, now they've just switched off.
Now they've already gone.
Yeah, boring.
Right, anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to ask each other some questions. I'm going to start with my question, and then Stefan will come back with a question for me. So my question for you is, which band or which solo artist do you feel is the most underrated of all time?
Oh, wow.
Which band or artist is the most underrated? In your opinion, which is the most underrated band or solo artist of all time?
Oh, I'll tell you who.
Go for it.
Gary Numan.
Oh.
Gary Numan.
So I'm lost for words because actually you picked a really good one and I would agree with you 100%. So you're talking about Gary Numan, for those of you who don't know, is one of the pioneers of the synth pop era. Probably number two, I would say. Number one, strangely enough, this morning I was reading that Donna Summer's I Feel Love was the first fully synth song to be released. And that was in 1977. And then Tubeway Army with Gary Numan was Friends Electric. That was 79?
I can tell.
Yeah, I think it was 1979. So it was 2 years after Donna Summer's. Good choice. You're right. Very underrated. What do you know about Gary? Do you? I mean, he's on first name terms with Gary Numan, by the way. What do you know about Gazer?
No, I've been following him, but always on the sidelines. And never really, just he wasn't at the top of my list, but he was always on the side. But now, as I've got older, and then I'm listening back to what he produced and his current stuff, I'm like, wow, And then I read his book. Actually, I bought his book, and that blew my mind. It was just like, wow, he suffers from anxiety. He's gone through depression. He hasn't had an easy life. And also just the kickback that he had when he first brought out our Friends Electric and Cars. The press, the music press were all negative against him. And so he kind of hid away in a way. He never really had the confidence because everyone in the music industry was just knocking him back. That, didn't take him seriously. But when you listen to his music, and now where he is, beautiful. Just so deep. Have you listened to his latest music?
I haven't listened to anything recently, but
it's brilliant.
Two things are going to happen as a result of this conversation.
Okay.
First one is I'm going to download his biography, autobiography, and I'm going to be interested to read that.
It's a great read.
I am very aware of the problems he had with the press in the early days.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're a pioneer.
Absolutely.
But I loved his music back then. I think hugely talented. And so the second thing that's going to happen is I will listen to some of his more recent stuff. I'll go and look for it. So that's a good outcome from this morning's meeting straight away.
Well, what I love about his latest stuff is that it's very Middle Eastern, very Arabic.
Really?
Yeah, there's some beautiful riffs in there, and it's just it's nothing. Go on that journey. You'll enjoy the journey.
Well, you got to come on this journey with me. I'm going to go and get his autobiography, and I'm going to listen to some of his music because I think Stefan's right, and I am actually going to enjoy looking into this.
And I'm following him on social media actually, and he just lost his brother actually, and his wife is going through a tough time health-wise. So, yeah.
I think I'll be following Gary Numan as well. Go on, then it's your turn. You've got to ask me a question now.
Well, this one is quite deep actually, because we're getting on in our years, and I'm just wondering, where you're standing now. We had a conversation before we hit the record button, where you're standing now, And I'm probably standing in the same position as you are. That's why I was asking you those questions about business and, being on your own, doing business. Just, are you, how do you see yourself in 5-10 years' time?
Good Lord. Yeah, that is deep. That's a.
Well, that was if I was going to kick the show off, that was going to be my first question. So maybe it is.
Where do I see myself in 10, 15 years? I just can't get that far ahead. So you're right. I am getting on in the years. For those of you interested, 61 years old at the moment. And I don't know, it seems, when I check the press these days, most of the people that I've idolized and the big names that I know in showbiz, they seem to be conking out around about 75. So it seems like 75 isn't a bad innings. So in 15 years' time, I could still be alive. I would like to be, but
I'm going to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. But I'm asking you that question because isn't it funny how society and when we were brought up is that, you're always working towards that retirement age and then retiring and then, playing golf or, sitting around reading a newspaper.
This was the traditional way.
The traditional way. And still, you've got, when you go back to the UK, how you've got all these retirement homes and it says from the age of 55.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? And, with the way we were brought up is that, you're all heading, you've got to save to retirement.
Yeah. So I watched my father retire. I actually don't know how old he was when he retired, but he took early retirement because he had an illness. But no, it's all right. But he did the traditional British retirement and downsized, bought a bungalow and lived in a cul-de-sac and lived his life. He seemed quite happy, go shopping now and again and say good morning to the neighbors when you take your bins out once a week. And I just decided I didn't want that. I don't want to retire and be that man. I don't want to. So what am I going to do? I'm going to carry on. I mean, I can't even imagine stopping. I'm blessed and I am exceedingly lucky that what I do, which is social media, voiceover, photography, all of these subjects, I should easily be able to continue doing, even if I become a bit more frail. I should be able to continue to do these things, and I love them. I love doing these subjects. So, I would. In 15 years' time, I would like to imagine that I am still doing pretty much the same subjects that I am doing now because I don't actually want to stop. Inshallah, praise the Lord, I'll still be firing on all cylinders in 15 years. I don't have a goal. There's nothing I am aiming towards. There's nothing that I am trying to achieve. I'm just really happy doing what I'm doing, and long may it last.
Do you think it's the way your mindset is because you've got that kind of entrepreneurial, always looking to, see what you can do, that's why you don't want to retire? Where, if someone's been if someone's watching and then they've been stuck in a job, although that's quite hard these days, being stuck in a job because jobs keep on, coming and going, that they are looking forward to it because then they're not,
working anymore.
Working on the treadmill, where when you're an entrepreneur and you have that mindset, you're always looking for new opportunities. And you're adapting on that journey because of your age and because of what you've learned, etc. Would you say?
So something you hit on there is I'm not normal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not normal, and nor are you, because I haven't had a traditional job where I go to work and come home at the end of the day and have a weekend. I haven't had that since 2019, I think. And so I've forgotten that life. I've forgotten that whole having a boss going. I do have a boss, ladies and gentlemen, but he supports what I'm doing, so I'm very lucky. And that gives me the time to do the things that I enjoy. But I do actually have a job. But I haven't had to do the whole be at work by this time, finish at this time, and have the weekend to look forward to. And in your coffee breaks, discuss the vacation that you're going to be taking, because that's pretty much all there is to do. I made a decision in 2019 that I didn't want to live that corporate lifestyle anymore. And yes, it was a bit scary going off in that direction, but it was the best thing I ever did. And it wasn't easy, and it's still not easy. But it was still the best decision I ever made, because I have forgotten what it's like to have to be in work at this time and finish work at that time and have a weekend to look forward to. I've forgotten that. So going back to your question about retirement and, why don't I want to stop? Yeah, I mean, perhaps if I was still working for a company where I have to be in work at this time and I finish at this time and weekend, perhaps I would be looking forward to that ending. Perhaps I would be thinking to myself, I can't wait to retire so I don't have to go to work at this time and finish at this time and have to be nice to my boss and have to and put up with the backstabbers and the people that are out to get you in the office. I would probably be looking forward to that coming to an end.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think I would be stopping. Perhaps retirement would mean I don't have to do that anymore, but I would always do something. It would be something I enjoy, something which I can either do it or not do it. But yeah, I mean, I would never stop. I think if I stop, I'll die.
I see that. You see that. That's why men generally die before women, because men literally put their heart and soul into their work, and then when work says, okay, we don't need you anymore, a lot don't know what to do.
What's the point of going on?
It switches off, and then everything else switches off.
I agree with you, and I think there is actually statistics that back this up, that you need to have purpose.
Absolutely.
And when your purpose is gone, so are you.
Yeah, this is like a computer system that says, okay, you're not needed anymore. Let's start switching off.
Yeah.
Let's run down.
So I agree. So keep yourselves busy. That's the crux here. So I think I've answered my question. And so it's time for one for you. So we met ages ago, years and years ago. And back then, you had a very successful production company, and you were on fire, basically. Then life changed things for you. And back then, I don't remember you mentioning life coaching very much to me. I think you may have mentioned that you had an interest in it, but it turns out that everything that you were back when I did first meet you is not what you are today. So you've gone through more of a transformation than I have. Your chosen discipline, life coaching, you're obviously very good at it, because I've checked your figures on social media, and how many followers have you got on TikTok now?
60,000.
60,000 followers. I've just hit 13,000, and I'm like, 13,000. He's at 60,000 on TikTok. So this tells me you're obviously very good at what you do. 60,000 people are not going to follow you unless you've got something to offer. What was it that made you go into the life coaching? Was it helping others? Did you get a buzz out of actually having, good outcomes for people, making a difference to people's lives? Is it that gave you the buzz that got you addicted to life coaching?
I'm not sure about addicted.
I would say you're addicted because you appear to be living and breathing it.
Oh, I'm all right. I am.
You're addicted.
I am addicted to it. No, it's funny how what you've mentioned, but yeah, it was. How did I find life coaching, or how did I turn to life coaching? It was when I was in that deep dark hole of depression, and I had nothing during COVID. So the ride that when we met running Ginger Camel was like my ego was like it literally started because it was I wanted to run a business. I'd always wanted to run a business in my mind. And I didn't, like we were talking earlier, I didn't want to go to work, be told what to do. I wanted to own my own business, but I didn't know what it was. So when someone came with the idea along, on this journey, that was the light bulb moment where it was just like, okay, well, I've been in TV broadcasts. This is similar. Why not? And I've got friends that are doing this side of the business. So why not set something up? Why not build a business on this? But I had no experience. So it was just the ego saying, hey, here's an opportunity. This is the business that you can do. You can find the right people like yourself, and you find the clients and match them two together and build a business around that. And as you know, it literally was based on finding the right people to work for me, getting the right clients, matching them up, and producing high quality productions. Mm-hmm. And looking back, when I was in that deep dark hole of depression during COVID, I realized that it wasn't about the business of production. I wasn't interested in production. It was just I wanted to run a business. I wanted to create a platform where people could be their best, could you give them the space to grow. Mm-hmm. And something inside of me said, that's what you've done. That's what you did. You weren't interested in the production. I hated going on shoots because I hated the stress. I hated, I wasn't interested in the equipment that they were using and the clients being stressed and the crew being stressed. And it was just like, didn't like it. So I'd always stay away, and people found that a bit weird. You should be smoozing with the client. This is the ideal opportunity. It's just like, no, I don't want to do that. Anyway, so yeah, something inside me during COVID, when I was in that deep dark hole of depression, said, look, you created something that, that's why you were popular, because people would come into the office saying, I feel this energy. I love the vibe. And it was just like, Anyway, I didn't really think about it until I was in that deep dark hole of depression. And something inside of me said, look, you in your own in your own special way, you created something where you were helping people. Now go and find something that's going to give you the tools to help people more. And something, and I've always watched people doing life coaching. I helped even 2 life coaches when they were training. I got life coached right at the beginning of when I was starting my journey in business. And I thought, life coaching? What, you're just going to ask me questions and then I've got to do the work? What is this life coach? Anyway, I was always on the side, and I helped them set up their podcast and, gave them studio space, etc. Gave them an audio engineer just to help them on their journey. So I'd always been on the sidelines and seeing them progress into actually launching their school. So when I was in that deep dark hole of depression, something inside of me said, yeah, go on, you need the tools, and then you'll be able to help more people. But what I didn't realize was it was going to help me. So when I signed up, and bless my wife, she was understanding, and she was always been there to support me. Said, go on, do what you have to do. And then when I was on that, and it was online because during COVID you couldn't. Yeah. And this was the first for them because they never had done an online course. I think it was the first online course that they did, and it was over 8 weeks, and it was intensive on a weekend, 8 hours each day for 8 weeks that we would come together. I was the only male in a group of 18 women.
You must have hated that.
Oh, it was terrible. No, but I was the only person that cried twice in that 8 weeks. And I wasn't embarrassed. It was the first time that I wasn't embarrassed. Before I might cry if I didn't get promotion or something like that. And I was always embarrassed. It was always like, I revealed something of me that, might be used against me. But this time it was just like, it felt like a release. It felt like it needed to come out. And I just observed it. And also I got coached with one of the teachers from that course, because where I was in my depression, I was standing it felt like I was looking up at a mountain and I was stuck. And, everyone around me was saying, come on, Stefan, you can get back up there. But inside of me went, I don't want to go back up there. I've already done it, building the company, etc. I don't want to go there. I've done it. But I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. And the coach basically said, well, in your mind's eye, have a look around you. And because I hadn't asked myself, no one had asked me to do that, I did that in my mind's eye. And when I looked, I saw this beautiful forest. I saw these rolling hills. And there was something that came over me. It was just like, oh, wow, that's where I want to go. And I thought it was with my company, but it wasn't. It was literally, no, that was your company. That was the industry. But now you're going in a different direction. But what I thought was, no, you're not going to be the company that you were, but that you're going to change it in a way that it's going to be lean, mean, and you're not going to build the business that you created before. So I went in the next day, I told the guys, right, this is the new direction, this is the new philosophy on the way we're going. If you're on board, then great. But if you're not, and you're thinking that we're going to go back to the way we were, then forget it. Go your separate way. But they said, no, we're with you. But also, when I did the course, I said to my wife, I want to close it. This is me. This is what I would love to do. But she said, well, look, you've still got responsibility. You've still got people, relying on you. You've still got clients, etc. And it was just like, so reluctantly, I went, okay, all right, carry on. And we limped to the World Cup. Mm-hmm. But always in the back of my mind was like, I want to coach. And I had a few clients. And then after the World Cup, everything went downhill. And it was just like, my wife said to me, how long are you going to do this? You can't, and I was always going, no, it'll get better. It will get better.
Yeah, so everyone believes that. Yeah.
And in the end, I just had to be honest with myself and went, you're right. I've got to close this. And then when I was in the process of closing it, I had the space now to really focus on my coaching. And then something inside of me went, well, how am I going to reach people? And also the transition of being the CEO and owner of a business to then say you're a life coach. Mm-hmm. I felt that there might be sniggering, there might be finger pointing, like, oh, look, everyone's a life coach.
And was there?
No, there wasn't actually. Yeah. It was unbelievable, the reaction. But I thought, no, I'll give myself a buffer zone. So I'll go on social media. Mm-hmm. I'll get out there. I'll coach people. And then with that content, I'll let people that know me that I'm now a coach. This is what my heart and soul is saying. Mm-hmm. And I did that. And while I was doing it, and I thought, well, TikTok, it's got 1.5 billion people on there. There must be people on there that need help, that need just a space. When you're scrolling, there's just noise, gaming, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, no, I'm going to just show up as me and let's see if I can create an impact. And I literally said, I'm going to go on TikTok every day for an hour. Mm-hmm. Just turn up. I'm not going to give the, razzmatazz, blah, blah, blah. I just thought, no, I'm just going to give you space. Sometimes I didn't say anything and then just see who was drawn to me. And that just had an amazing effect. Because really, when do people give you the time and day to just listen to you, just to give you, to be able to just let out whatever's going on in your life and not have any, preconceived ideas or advice or anything like that? No, I'm just going to give you the space. And I'll ask you questions. And if I can mentor you, I'll mentor you. And it just, it's it is. I've had pushback from my wife because she said, "Why don't you get a normal job?" But when you find your heart and soul,
Yeah.
it was just like, no, this journey's different.
Yeah.
I want you to be part of it. When I was running Ginger Camel, it was like the fact, like, stand back. I know what I'm doing. You don't know. You stick to do what you're doing. But this time it was just like, no, I want you. I want all of us to go on this journey because the way I'm feeling, it's amazing. It's incredible.
Strange how things work out. I had no idea that I would end up being an influencer. I didn't think I could influence anyone to do anything, but it turns out that I have now. Actually, I'm officially an influencer. I say officially an influencer because I signed a contract recently with Talabat. And at the top of the contract, it clearly says influencer agreement. And so I thought, oh, I am actually officially an influencer. So yeah, I mean, I could have never, going back to COVID, I think COVID is when a lot of things changed for a lot of people, certainly for you, certainly for me.
Yeah.
I think COVID is, I can tell you now, I would not be sat here having this conversation with you had COVID not occurred.
No, we wouldn't.
COVID is what changed the direction of things. I started doing the news in 60 seconds, and that switched me onto social media and put me in the direction that I've ended up in. And you discovered online coaching and everything changed. So I guess the takeaway from this is you don't know what's just around the corner. And one of the things that really, really annoys me about self-help books and by the way, I did investigate becoming a life coach and it turns out I suck at it. So I've dropped life coaching as a goal because I'm just one of those people that would just say, man up, damn you, get on with it. But one of the things that does frustrate me when I hear life coaches and gurus talking about things is they say, if you're not in a job that you like, get out of it. What are you doing living in this prison of your life? If you're not enjoying doing what you're doing, get out. But you can't because you're stuck, because you've got responsibilities and you've got kids in school and you've got this, that, and the other. So when I hear a life coach or an influencer or a life coaching influencer online saying, if you don't like your job, leave. I'm just like, you obviously don't live in the real world.
No.
But sometimes life forces you to change. You've got no alternative. And when that happens, you can either go into a deep depressive pit and you can be in a horrible place and be, woe is life, woe is me. Or you can say, my hand that I've been dealt has changed. Mm-hmm. And now I need to work with what I've got. And my takeaway from this, from my experience since COVID, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this, is grab the new opportunities. Instead of mourning what you have lost, embrace what is now possible. Because when one thing ends, there is a new space for you to move into and evolve. And that's my takeaway from this anyway. And I'm not a life coach.
No, but that's brilliant. I totally agree with you. On my journey now, I do listen to either seminars or, you go to networking events and there's a coach maybe speaking, etc., etc. Or you listen to the radio and there's a coach or, personal development person. And it is that they say it in a way that, you really haven't lived. You're saying it in a way that is condescending, and you're not looking at it from the perspective of the person that, as you say, has those responsibilities, that they feel stuck and they think it's a quick fix. And here's the answer. Mm-hmm. Take the answer. And it's just like, we hear the answer. We see what should be, but what about everything that we're carrying, everything that we're going through, all the support, especially out here in the Middle East? There's a lot of people that are supporting families at home. No one says anything. Also, what annoys me with the coaching industry is that you get so many schools popping up, and they don't talk about, and they promote life coaching. Be a life coach. Be a life coach. So there's a lot of people.
Mind Valley.
Exactly, but they don't tell you, So they're selling the courses, and they're selling the dream, but they don't tell you that after you become a life coach, that you have to become a business person. You've got to become a marketeer. You've got to become this.
Luckily, you had those skills already, though.
Yeah, but it's still been tough for me. And that's why I think, wow, there are so many coaches out there that have been promised the dream and then they jump. I knew someone that had been working in London, high-powered job. She gave it up to be a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like, she expected then she would get clients. And she was suffocating. And she even went on a second course, where I met her, where she was like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to update my coaching skills because it didn't work the first time. So I'm here again. Schools are going, pay us. We'll help you get better.
Give us your money.
And also there's a market afterwards where there's businesses where they go, oh, you're a life coach now? We can help you get out there marketing. But there's only one way of doing it. It's our way. But it's not the coach's way. They don't ask the coach how they communicate, what their strengths are, what their weakness is. No, it's our way, and you've got to do that. If you do that, then great. You're going to be most successful coach. So I meet coaches that have created this beast that they have no relationship with. They're like standing back going, well, this is what they said I should be doing, and I don't know how to control it. And it's sad. It's really sad. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that because there was an ending.
No, I find that very interesting because what you just said, because I looked at life coaching, and the sales brochure says work from anywhere. Very gratifying work. You're helping people, and you can make a lot of money in the process. I'm like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to follow that. And I looked into it. These things cost an absolute fortune. If you want to do it properly, you're going to be spending some serious money. And why didn't I spend that money? Because actually, I did see everything you've just said in the future. I did see, how on earth am I going to get clients? How am I? Yeah, okay, I can work from anywhere, but where are these clients that are going to pay me money? Where are they going to materialize from? And so I saw that, and I just thought to myself, this is too big an outlay to gamble that I will be able to find clients. So that's why I decided I would actually do the life coaching progressively. I thought, I'll teach myself. I'll read books. I'm not going to go on a course because it costs an arm and a leg. I'm going to teach myself. I'm going to self-study. And very quickly in the process of doing that, I realized that I wasn't a good life coach, and that the best thing I did was not go on a course, because I would have spent a fortune. I would have sucked as a life coach, and I would have never got a client, and I would have wasted my arm and my leg fee because it's not for me. But yeah, schools are happy to take your money.
Oh, absolutely. No, I realized what I was aiming for. What you said about that transition, with you having a job and that it's really hard to get out of. But when I talk to clients is the fact that, look, the way you're showing up at work, you're just, your energy is kind of low, and you're not looking for the opportunities because you feel that, I've got the job, I've got to keep the job because that is paying for everything else then. So, but that doesn't mean that you give up on your dreams and goals. And when you start looking at it in that way, you start lifting your head, you come into the company. Now you're looking for opportunities within the company, where before you just felt, I've got to keep my head down, I've got to do the work, so I don't jeopardize losing that job because I've got so much going, relying on me.
Yep.
But when you do that, you're just coming in with a low energy. But when you think, well, that doesn't mean that you give up your dreams and goals. So look at what your dreams and goals are in life, and maybe the company that you're actually working for, there might be opportunities. But because you've kept your head low, got to do the job, just do it, keep quiet, give the money, you forget. And you're not looking at all the opportunities. So I always say, don't leave your job, look at that company and see where the opportunities are. Because a lot of people come into work and they don't socialize. And when you don't socialize, you're not hearing what might be the opportunities in that company. So look at the company first. Well, find out what you love doing. Because a lot of the time people are in a job that either they fell into, or they got pressure from their parents, or just out of necessity, they found themselves being in that job. And they forgot who they were. So the head is literally saying, must get a job, must have a roof over my head, must earn money. All right, but what does the heart want? What does the heart want to do? Maybe it's you're into sport. Maybe you love, writing, whatever it is. Maybe you're into music. But that doesn't mean that you give, you could actually show up and go, oh, why not set up a music group? Why not set up a writing group? And then you actually meet people who then might introduce you to opportunities within that company. So now you get promoted because you got to know the boss that you're playing music with. And they're seeing a new energy showing up every day. Now you're like, hey, hi, Mr. CEO, hi, blah, blah, blah. Where before it's just like, just got to do what I'm going to do. So
that's actually good advice.
So yeah, you're literally opening people's eyes. And then if they say, no, I've tried everything. All right, if you've tried, then okay. But don't give up on your dreams. Do it on the side. Open the heart when you've got some spare time, where you might be going home and you're just scrolling on your phone. That's just wasting your time. Your heart is wanting to go, hey, remember when we played football? Remember when we drew? Remember when we played music? Remember when, you went out for a walk? That's when you came alive, but you're not doing anything because you're just losing it in everyone else's life by scrolling. Find the hour and just do what the heart wants to do. You'll notice there's a change in energy the next day you go to work because you did something that was for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Out of all the pieces of advice that you dish out...
No, I'm a coach. I shouldn't give advice.
Well, you do, because
I
watched your
know.
channel, so you do pop,
I coach
you do pop
and mentor.
snippets.
I coach and mentor.
So, what do you feel is the number one thing that someone needs to do every day to improve their life? Is there a magic pill? Is there a silver bullet? Is there something which, if people started doing, it could actually hugely change their life quality?
There is.
And that is, what is it? Tell us, the people want to know, Stefan. What is the secret?
I call it the reset button.
Right.
The biological reset button. This is where you reset your life. This is where you start taking control of your life. And it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But when you tell people, you can already hear that voice in your head going, rubbish.
Come on, what's the reset button? I want to press it.
Well, sleep.
Yeah.
Being in control of your sleep.
Uh-huh.
When you go to bed, when you wake up, and the duration that you have.
Right.
That's the first thing you need to focus on.
So number one, everything else follows.
Yep.
The number one thing you've got to get in order in your life is your sleep. So what do you want to do with your sleep?
So basically, latest research, go online, is your biological body clock.
Yeah.
Now, the ideal time to go to bed is around 9 and 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Anything after that feels like when you wake up, you're literally shaking your body clock. So you can't be guaranteed how you're going to feel the next day. But if you go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock or within that window, you can be guaranteed to wake up the same every single morning.
Okay.
And make sure you have 7 hours sleep. Because the research that they've done now,
I'm checking my phone, not for messages. I track my sleep.
okay,
So I don't think I'm getting it right. Sleep. So last night I was asleep for 5 hours 59, and I don't want to waste your time because I can't find the average. Do that. Oh, I have a press month or 6 months. Oh, I'm averaging 6 hours 24 minutes. Oh, so that's not too bad then. I'm not far away from 7.
but I say 7 because the latest research is that your mind during the day, your brain creates all these toxins
Yeah.
because of the way it's working. It's like a computer. It's literally working. It's creating heat. It's creating toxins, and it needs to flush it out
Yeah.
through your body, through your system, and it needs 7 hours.
Right.
It needs 7 hours. So if you go to bed at 9, wake up at 4. If you go to bed at 10, you wake up at 5. But also, it's not just about sleep, it's how you approach your sleep. Think of sleep as your recharge. When we plug our phones in, we know it's going to take so many hours to recharge that phone 100%.
Yep.
That's the way you got to look at yourself. 7 hours is the ultimate recharge for yourself. If you don't, just like the phone, if you don't recharge it, it's not going to go for the whole day. Also, with technology, you know how it might get a bit sluggish. You know when you're on your laptop and you've got too many apps open and it's going down low on battery, it starts getting a bit slow.
All right, question.
Yes.
My phone is telling me, and I agree with my phone, that I am averaging 6 hours 24. So if I want to push that to 7, what can I do? How can I get another half an hour's
Well, who's the
sleep?
boss here?
Yeah, but how can I get it?
Who's the boss? Hold on, you schedule everything else in your life. Why not schedule you? Why
Because
not start taking care of you?
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, I do go to bed very early. In fact,
What time?
normally around about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, normally roundabout. So you're not in charge. You're literally going on based on how life is throwing things at you, what work, etc. You're not focusing on this is the most important thing that I need to focus on. So if I'm going to an event, I need to leave. You know what your life is like. You know what your lifestyle is. You know that when you leave an event, how long is it going to take you? What you do when you get home, whether maybe, I don't know, read a book or whatever, but always in your mind, 9 or 10 o'clock.
But what I'm saying to you is, even if I went to bed at 7 o'clock, I don't fall asleep until 9:30 anyway. So it doesn't matter if I go to bed. How?
No, but I'm not saying 7 o'clock. Your mind said if I go to bed.
But what I'm saying to you is, it doesn't. I don't know. Perhaps it's age, but I do find that when I go to bed, I will conk out normally within 30 minutes. I'll be gone.
Okay.
But if I sleep too early, I
Yeah.
will wake up
Oh, well.
in the middle of the night.
No, I agree with you.
And that's how I ended up with my average. So I'm with you. I understand that people should get your lives in order and get to bed at a sensible time.
Not should. It's up to, everyone that's watching will have their own, mental narrative, and, there will be pushback because, when you're a kid, that's all you wanted to do was to stay up late. And there was nothing worse than your parents going, come on, you must go to bed. So when we left our homes, we went, hey, now I can go to bed anytime I want. And it was just like pushback, pushback, pushback. But actually, our parents were doing us a favor by saying, look, you need that sleep. They wouldn't be saying it any other way, because why? Why were they telling us to go to bed? Because they knew the importance of sleep. They knew that if we had stayed up late and then we woke up early, we would wake up groggy. We would wake up bad-tempered. We would wake up, So they knew the whole why sleep was important. So, but Look at when you're eating as well. It's not just about sleep. It's give yourself a 2 to 3 hour buffer before you go to sleep, because people expect, oh, I'll eat late and then my mind's telling me that I'm tired, but the body's still going, okay, got to digest, got to digest, got to digest. So it's still working, but you think you're going to switch off when you close your eyes. That isn't going to be the case, and you're not going to get a productive quality of sleep because your body's still working.
Ooh, good advice.
And that's the same with technology. Is that, you know, a lot of people are scrolling, then they feel tired, switch off, and then they expect the mind to switch off just like that and fall asleep. No, the mind is still creating, you know, it's like, what was the next? You know, it's got dopamine, it's got everything going on in the mind, and that's going to take a good hour, 2 hours for it to go, I've run out of things to think about, I've run out of images, etc., etc. So you're not going to get a good night's sleep if you just switch off on your phone. So food, 2 to 3 hour buffer. Technology, give yourself half an hour before you go to bed to unwind, dim the lights.
I'm terrible.
Read a book.
I'm the man who falls asleep with the phone in his hand still.
There you go. So there's that. Then, so that's the first thing. That's the major thing. And everyone can just do their research. Sleep is the big number one. And you're now starting to take control of your life. You're not at the whim of everyone else. You know what's good for you. And then when you wake up, your mind is clear. There's no fogginess in your mind. Your head is just like, oh. And also you're charged. You're fully 100% charged. Because the next thing that I'm going to tell you is, do you want to hear more? Are we going more? Or
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, are you getting bored? We'll
sleep.
We'll do one more.
Just sleep.
We'll do one more. No, go on. Is it walking? Are you about to say
No,
walking?
no, that's the
I was
third
gonna
thing.
There's something in between. We'll do an episode 2 on this, I think, because I'm just going to check the how long have we been going? I don't know. I thought I was going to look at my phone. It was going to tell me how long we've been going. I think this is long enough for this one.
I think that's the most important. People will feel the effect of focusing on their sleep and being in charge of their lives, being in charge of when they go to bed. That is the biggest thing to start taking control of your life, turning your life around.
So takeaways from today's little chat. First of all, Gary Newman, going to get his autobiography and listen to some of his more recent music. And if you've never heard of Gary Newman, go and do your homework on that one. And number 2 takeaway is that life throws you curveballs, and it is literally how you deal with that curveball. It's don't go into a depression. Don't think the world is over. The world is not over. You've just got to grab your new opportunities.
But I want to stop you there because I just had a client last week about the whole, he had lost his job. And it is natural to feel depressed. It's natural to go into that space because that's like our default mode. It's like, the routines have been interrupted. So it's just natural. You know, it's like...
No, you're going to mourn the loss.
Mourn the loss.
Yeah.
So it's like grieving the loss of
your job,
your
purpose,
and
your pride.
Absolutely. So it's understandable that people feel that way. But yeah, you can't just say, snap out of it, because people...
That's why I can't be a life coach.
People will go through it. But to understand that it's natural, it's okay. But then depression is like a transition from one life journey. I see it as like a vacuum that you go through. Now, you can either stay there and feel sorry for yourself, or you can go through that experience thinking that, all right, that isn't where I was going. Now, life is going to literally pull me in a new direction. And I've got to go through that kind of horrible feeling, depressive, et cetera, to come out the other side. And as you said, it's like a new opportunity. And look at it as life saying, all right, that wasn't where you were going. I didn't want you to end up wherever that was going to go. I'm going to put you on a new course.
Right. So what we're saying is there is going to be a period, and it doesn't matter what any life coach or anyone says to you, you are going to be depressed and you are going to be feeling pretty shitty. But with help, you can come out of that hole, and you can, or even without help, you can
Well,
self-help
some
as
people,
well.
no, exactly. Some people need help. Other people will go,
We'll just
all
get
right.
on it. But you'll come out the other side, and you'll look back and you'll think, well, that wasn't so bad. I'm certainly really happy with my change in direction. I don't know about you.
Oh, I'm every life transition, I'm grateful
Yeah.
because I wouldn't be sitting here with you, and I wouldn't be having the life that I have.
And what was the third takeaway I had for you? Oh yeah, sleep. Get sleep. Get in control of your sleep, and see if it makes any difference to you.
Biological reset button. Sleep is the first
The
one.
reset button. Stefan, brilliant chatting with you. And it sounds like we might have to do another one of these. You guys can decide that. Please comment if you'd like to hear two elderly gentlemen yakking on about life. If you would like to hear more from us, let us know, and perhaps we'll do another one of these.
Maybe if you get the right response. Thank you, Brian.
Go to bed.
Go to bed.